Now, Margaret Nyamumbo is a Kenyan-American entrepreneur who has taken the world of coffee by storm. European brands dominate the market, but Nyamumbo, founder of Kawara in 1893, has made history as the first black woman-owned coffee brand to be stocked at Trader Joe's. She sourced the coffee from Kenya, a country resource rich with beans known for its high acidity and intense flavour profile. Her work creating sustainable jobs for Kenyan women has gone beyond profit to challenging lives while putting Africa on the map. And Nyamumbo is not slowing down. The brand has also started selling at Target. Well, let's bring in Margaret Nyamumbo now to tell us about how she's impacting America's coffee industry. Margaret, thank you very much indeed for joining us all the way from California this evening. I mean, Margaret, what inspired you to launch into the coffee market?
So I grew up on a coffee farm in Kenya. So I've been around coffee since I was born. Grew up on my grandfather's coffee farm, and then I moved to the US for college. My parents, typical, go to school, get your education, and get an office job. And I did that. Came to America, went to business school, I went to Harvard, went to work on Wall Street. But when I was working on Wall Street is when I saw coffee starting to really take off as a specialty crop. And Africa is, one of the most respected producing countries. We have Ethiopia, you have Kenya, and I felt that in the market, there really wasn't a brand, especially an African brand that was telling that story. And secondly, a lot of the work in coffee, about 90% of the labor was coming from women, but they were not being well compensated. So I was really inspired to bring an African global brand to the market.
You've launched a business in a crowded market. Let's face it, America is one of the busiest markets for coffee in an industry that's predominantly dominated by, white males. You must have faced a mountain of challenges. I mean, what were the worst ones in your journey so far?
Exactly. It is a very, very male-dominated industry. And the interesting thing is that takeover happens right after the farm. So once the coffee leaves the farm, the men take over. So a lot of the deal brokering is run by males. So being taken seriously at first is really the biggest obstacle. The one example that I always tell my friends is when I go to industry conferences, the assumption is that I'm a barista. That's the only thing I can do because there wasn't enough representation in the industry. And last year, as a surprise, we were the first Black woman-owned company to launch in a national chain in America. It was 2021. So there's definitely a lot of challenges that you face. But I feel like the brand I'm building is giving opportunity for more women to come and join us.
When you set out in this venture, I mean, now that you can go and see your product on the shelf in Trader Joe's or Target, did you ever think you would be able to get such big corporations, big companies to take your product?
No, not at all. I was growing up in a small village in Kenya, picking coffee before school some days. So seeing our product on the shelf, nationally, it's not something that was ever on my roadmap, but it's something that I'm very, very excited about to start to open the doors for other African brands to dominate the world.
And what sort of element of personal pride do you have? I mean, when you're in the store and you see your own packaging on a shelf of a national chain, I mean, that must give you a real huge buzz.
I still get the excitement that I had when I first saw it. So I go to the store, there's a Trader Joe's that's 3 minutes from my house, which is where I shop. And I always buy a bag when I go. I'm my own customer as well. So I always buy a bag. I always talk to people in the store about it, but it's still something that feels out of this world. Hopefully I'll get used to it soon.
What advice would you give to black women that have basically, they've got a business idea, they've got a dream, but they just feel because of the whole system, the status quo, it's the way things are done, that it could never happen for them?
Yeah, my biggest advice is to change the mindset. So coming from a place of strength, studies have shown women businesses outperform men's businesses. So women should have the confidence that they can do it. But once they start this journey of being an entrepreneur, making sure that they build a network of other strong women, but also of other male allies. To be able to support them. But definitely, changing your mindset, building your network, and building supporting allies to really help you mentor you through this process.
And before you go, very quickly, I mean, it has been a journey from you, as you said, from basically coming up with the idea and now being on the shelves nationwide. I mean, what one, if you can think of a highlight or the most memorable part or the most proudest moment of your journey so far?
That actually came last year, and it was when we were able to finally open up our first project in Kenya for the women that we're working with. So on our coffee bags that we sell, we have a QR code at the back of the bags, and you can actually tip the farmer. And so people put money in that fund, and that fund has now supported building a corn mill plant in the village in Kenya, and so the women don't have to walk long distances to get their corn meal processed, and it's giving new jobs. So the highlight was seeing the impact that I was looking for, which is bringing impact right to farmers back in the village and seeing how coffee had impacted them positively.
That's such an innovative idea. I mean, sadly, we'll have to leave it there. But Margaret, once again, congratulations on what you've achieved, and well done. Basically, not what you've achieved personally, but what you're achieving for the African continent to get their brand, to get the message across the United States, one of the toughest markets in the world to crack commercially. Well done to you, and thank you so much for spending some time with us here on Arise America.